Hey, what's up, fam? It's the Broke Capitalist coming back at you. And it's been a while. Sorry about that. If you've been looking for me, I've been in hiatus, I guess. It's a little discouraging sometimes, wondering if I'm the only one out here. I'm the only one hearing my voice. But with that said, there's been some new developments that has provided me with some hope that there are people out there hearing my voice or will hear my voice. Now, with that said, I like to, every once in a while, I need to explain the broke capitalist. What does that mean? It means basically what it says. No, I don't live here. This is a green screen. I'm sure you know that. But being a capitalist to me is just a belief in a certain set of values, right? I believe in the value of a free market. There's no such thing as a perfect economics philosophy or situation or whatever, but capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other, and it tends not to murder people. Okay. So the narrative is that you have to be rich. You have to be like the Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos to be a capitalist or believe in capitalism because it works for you to such a great degree. No, you can be broke as hell and be a capitalist. Remember, Bezos was, I don't know how much money he had, but he started Amazon in the garage. So he didn't start it after he became a billionaire, right? But anyway, with that said, it's the broke capitalist coming at you. And today I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's the narrative. And I have an announcement at the end of this. I'll keep it as short as I can, but stay tuned for that. Now, I believe Breitbart said that it is, Breitbart said that politics is downstream from culture. And I like to take that a step further by saying that culture is downstream from a narrative, right? So let's work on the terms here. This can get a little dense. So let's try and stay on the same page at least. So when I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about an agreed upon set of values, beliefs, and history, agreed upon set of values within an identifiable group of people, not necessarily identifiable based on race, but just maybe it's geographic location, maybe it's racial, maybe it's religious, I don't know, but culture. A narrative, to me, when I'm talking about a narrative, it consists of stories, myths, and anecdotal evidence with a focused theme, right? The theme is very important, right? So suppose you can create and control the dissemination of a narrative to individuals who share a common culture while simultaneously vilifying any other narrative, any narrative that contradicts the narrative you create, right? Now, suppose you can disseminate that and control it, right? Well, if you can do that, you got a lot of power over the culture, right? Now, suppose you choose a narrative with the theme of victimization, a narrative based in fear of racist, and another narrative of guilt of past racism. And you run them simultaneously to two different groups. Like, I belong to one group and you may belong to another group. Just looking at me, I belong to one group and I don't know who you are, but you may belong to another group, right? So utilizing fear, if you can control this narrative, you can manipulate an entire culture into voting against their individual interest and for your political goals, your being the people who, or the person, the people, whatever, the group who controls the narrative and created it, manipulates it, disseminates it, right? I'm going to talk about kind of my group, but a side note, utilizing guilt, that group who can control the narrative can also manipulate people into voting against their individual interests for their political goals, if you know what I mean. But I'll say that for another day. The narrative could go something like this. I came up with one. All right, here it goes. All whites are racist, homophobic, and or misogynistic. And there's a certain political party out there who will protect you and your group from these racist, homophobes, and misogynistic people. I don't know if you can hear my now big, huge puppy barking in his sleep, but that's what the noise is. So yeah, now here's the vilification of any other narrative, right? To even consider an alternative political party indicates that you too are racist, homophobic, or misogynistic. So you got to run the narrative and the counter narrative at the same time, so to speak. Now, this narrative the narrative I'm talking about, of victimization, has been disseminated within the African-American community all of my life. And I got a lot of gray hairs, man. Unfortunately, this has resulted in the vast majority of African Americans blindly voting for the aforementioned party. Now, there's a lot of people who come to America from places like Ghana, Nigeria, Sudan. They haven't heard that narrative. They didn't grow up with it. Matter of fact, they came over here and they're like, I'm coming here for opportunities. I'm a capitalist, right? They're not coming over here for free lunch, so to speak. They have that mentality. They believe in free markets. They believe in individualism, individual merit, hard work, sacrifice, and individual responsibility. So you got me, who grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and has heard this, been subjected to this narrative all my life. And then you have someone coming from Africa who's never heard it. And when they get here, they totally ignore it because it's nonsense, right? So the result is that a lot of people who look like me usher in, they vote for that political party, believing that, you know, out of fear, they better vote for them, because if they don't, oh my God. And what happens is that political party gets in power, and the only thing they end up doing is usher in policies in line with keeping that party in power. That's it. And they do nothing to empower the African-American individual or the African-American family. And basically these policies just keep, you know, the African-American community dependent on aforementioned political party, right? What's this all about? Well, in my opinion, we are currently in one of the oldest battles ever fought. It's the collectivists against the individualists. But the individualists, in my opinion, have made a grave error in fighting and how we fight the collectivists. We can't use collectivist weapons to fight collectivists. For example, group ideology, terminology. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, you're a Democrat. Oh, you're a libertarian. Oh, you're black. Oh, you're white. That's group think, group ideology, group identification. It takes another step But when in your conversations with your local progressive, right? And instead of just being like, oh yeah, John, he's a progressive, just John's an individual who believes in social Marxism. Now, even talking to John, Jim, Jack, or Jane, whatever. Oh, okay, so I understand you, the individual, believes in socialism, right? I mean, maybe a little awkward at times, and of course, you can't do this all the time, but it's good for people who are locked in that group think to consider themselves as an individual. That's the first step. You're an individual first, with individual, in America, individual liberties and individual responsibilities, which we often overlook, but that's very important. Individual liberties and individual responsibilities. So, okay, so like I said, I think Breitbart said politics is downstream from culture, but more importantly, in my opinion, culture is downstream from a controlled narrative. And we need to fight back. And that's why, again, I don't know if you see this, but Eric July's Rippaverse, it's reality. Him being able to publish this, I think they made like $3 million in a week. This is very important because it's not a part of the narrative. And this narrative isn't some, happenstance or whatever. This is a controlled narrative. And here's part of that control system. Hopefully this is operating, you can see this. But this is the 2014 Screen Actors Guild. In section 44, policy of non-discrimination and diversity is in there. So everything that's coming through that tube you watch, this is affected by this because they have actors, producers, and directors. They have to abide by this if they're in the Screen Actors Guild, right? Policy of non-discrimination, stop, full stop, you good. You good. Then diversity comes into play. And I searched for the word diversity. It comes up 25 times here, but I'll make this brief. I'll read it out for you. So the parties here to reaffirm their commitment, one, to a policy of non-discrimination and fair employment in connection with the engagement and treatment of background actors on the basis of sex, race, color, creed, national origin, age, marital status, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, in accordance with applicable state and federal laws, and to continue the active promotion of diversity as set forth herein of background actors covered by this schedule. Section B, producers shall make every effort to cast background actors in accordance with the policy set forth in paragraph A, above in all types of roles, having due regard to the requirement of and suitability for the role, so that, for example, the American scene may be portrayed realistically. And I'm gonna go back up here because you thought I just glanced over this. With the engagement and treatment of background actors on the base of race, sex, color, creed, national origin, age, marital status, disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity in accordance with applicable and state law. They want to, so what this is saying is, in my opinion, non-discrimination is not good enough. You have to be proactively creating this agreed upon, somebody's agreed upon reality. In my reality, right, the real reality, right, African Americans make up about 11 to 12, 13% of the country, always have, probably always will for some reason. Hispanics make up about 17%, and then you got others, and then white folks, right? But on my TV, that reality isn't the case, right? I mean, So what are they doing here? The intent is awesome. They want this world where everybody gets a chance, everybody, whatever, everybody's represented. But that's not often reality, right? And to force this reality is a forced reality, their reality. They being the people who believe mainly in socialism and Marxism. I don't want to get too far off this topic, but they are creating a reality and beaming it in through your living room, basically. And especially is aimed at children. So by the time they get gray in the hair, gray hairs like me, I mean, think about the world they believe they live in, right? See, I'm fortunate enough to have grown up in a reality that was reality, right? And I'm gonna segue over to, from this, I just presented this to you so that you don't think you're going crazy, right? Like, why am I seeing all this stuff in TV, music, video games like this ever since like when? I wonder if you know the date. I can tell you the date. This was 2014. This SAG Screen Actors Guild contract, right? Now I got access to, I truly believe, probably 80% of all movies and probably 70% of all TV shows ever made, right, in English. And there's a bright line in 2015. You can go before and after 2015. This took effect, I believe, probably 2014, 15, and you can see the implications of this policy in media. And prior to that, it was great, but it's a stark difference, right? But this leads me to another story. And this is really, really, really good news. My favorite author, one of my favorite authors, Ayn Rand, the Daily Wire secures exclusive film TV rights to the classic novel Atlas Shrugged. Man, I can't wait. Take my money. Where's the line? I'm standing in it. If you guys need some consulting on that, I'm here. I done read Atlas Shrugged too many times. It's embarrassing. I've read it, listened to it. I'm currently listening to it again. But this is the kryptonite. This is the left's kryptonite. This shatters socialism, Marxism, groupthink, group ideology. This just shatters it, right? So I'll read this and I'll come up to my announcement here. So the Daily Wire Plus has acquired exclusive film and television rights to Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged and will develop a series based on the groundbreaking 1957 novel. Company co-CEO Jeremy Boring announced Thursday. Besides them gaining the rights, the second most important thing here is a development of a series. Now, the last attempt at this was, in my opinion, horrific. I tell people all the time, just don't watch that movie. Do not watch it. You can go watch Fountainhead, which was done back in the 50s or 60s. It's in black and white. I think Cary Grant was in it. It's great. Awesome. Loved it. The recent rendition of this, it was a 3-part movie with all type of different actors that characters were, that the humans that portrayed the character in the books just didn't line up. They cut out, I mean, the book is ridiculously long, but I mean, I'll grant you that if you haven't read it. It's ridiculously long, but you need a mini series to do this any justice. I mean, a long mini series, or like a, season 1, season 2, season 3. You need that to do this any type of justice. But with that said, I'm stoked. I'm super excited about this. Who knows when it's coming out? But yeah, Atlas Shrugged is the kryptonite to the left. And it is. Here's my big announcement, y'all. So I'll be collaborating with my man, Mike from Rethinking the Dollar. You guys go follow him. I've suggested you follow him several times. Rethinking the Dollar, if you want to learn about finance, what's going on with your money, why your turkey costs, what they say, up to 50% more this year than it did last year. This is the day before Thanksgiving, by the way, if you're not seeing this the day of. Yeah, Mike will fill you in on the whys. I got a little story to tell. Speaking of this, I'm old enough to remember buying a Snickers bar and a bag of chips for 50 cents. Just let that sink in, because I'm in California right now. And the other day, I picked up a Snickers and a bag of chips, took it to the counter. They rung it up. It was almost $5. 1,000%. Inflation of 1,000%. And think about it, you can make a Snickers bar more efficiently today than you could in 1975. And who knows what's in the Snickers bar, right? It ain't the sugar that I grew up on, right? But with that said, Mike, myself, and Tom, who I don't know if he's exclusively on Rumble, but I know his channel is on Rumble, and his channel is The Coming Conflict. The Coming Conflict, and he does geopolitical stuff. That's his wheelhouse. Check him out too. It's important that you support non-woke content. I'm not saying go blindly follow people or just blindly buy stuff, because, the mainstream didn't produce it. But give it a chance, give it a shot, because we have to have the marketplace of ideas. And if all of our ideas are woke ideology, that ain't good. But with that said, hey, I'll have more content more often. Now that Mr. Elon has cracked the wall, so to speak, bought Twitter. Twitter is off the hook now again. You can find me there, Broke Capitalist, I believe. It'll be in the description anyway, where you can find me. But yeah, Twitter's off the hook, man. And it's giving me hope that YouTube will lighten up. The shadow banning stuff will kind of, go away. But with that said, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you have a great holiday season, Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family, friends, and I'll holler later. Peace.